Greetings, everyone. I am delighted to have with us today Beverly DeSoto, who is the founder and the editor-in-chief of Regina Inc. Many people will know Regina as Regina Magazine, but Regina is much bigger than that because they also host the most fabulous trips throughout the world. And we're going to share with you a trip that's coming up, the Cabrini tour, and Beverly's going to share with you all about that. Regina also hosts events, and hopefully you'll get just an inkling of the depth of what they do. And we've got amazing pictures to share with you. So, Beverly, I want to get right into Cabrini tours, and we'll share more on the back end, but just give us a teaser into Cabrini tour.
So this is our first trip to New York. I'm a native New Yorker, so I'm particularly excited about this. It's a Catholic tour of New York. It's a long weekend. It's designed for people ages 21 to 40. We've had 6 or 7 of those trips in the past to Europe. Pre-COVID, we did a lot of those, and people had a wonderful time. They're designed to be affordable. And because young people don't often have that kind of money to throw around. Plus, a lot of people will be flying from other places, um, and we're going to do some pretty cool stuff. So our trips are like partly what you would call a religious pilgrimage because we're going to have always an amazing priest with us. This time, Father John Perricone, who writes for Crisis Magazine, who is just a brilliant, brilliant priest, and all kinds of fun. And it's just partly a religious trip, and partly historic and cultural. So we're going to be at Francis Tavern. We're going to go to Ellis Island. We're going to be Midtown, Uptown. The trip really revolves around the two saints, both females, of New York. One is Mother Elizabeth Ann Seton, and the other is Francesca Cabrini, my personal favorite. We're gonna walk in their footsteps. We will see Mother Cabrini's incorrupt body, and we will see. So it's a Catholic look at New York.
Yeah.
And New York's a very Catholic place.
Yeah.
And it's had waves and waves of immigrants from many Catholic countries, and it's had its own amazing Catholic story.
Mhm.
So we'll see St. Patrick's Cathedral, we'll see all the high points, and we'll have plenty of time left over for, young people want to go out, they want to have fun.
Yeah.
So I'll be able to help them with that, and for a little while anyway, not too long, because I don't really have the energy I used to. But yeah, we're going to have fun. We're going to stay at Leo House, which is a beautiful guest house owned by the Archdiocese of New York in Chelsea. And everything's taken care of. I'll be leading the tour, and we'll have transportation. Everybody's going to get to see what it's like to take the subway and hoof it around the streets of New York, and take Ubers around. And one day we'll have a bus, and so we'll have fun. Thing is, it's 17 people. That's max. This is not a big trip with a lot of people. If this is I find these sizes under 20 to be best. People have a really good time. And the trips in general have been like that. It's kind of funny.
Well, you just I want to go on that, but I
Yeah,
am too old. This is more for my daughter.
yeah.
And I, before we get more into that, because I'll have things flashing across the screen here so that people can get right to the website to register. How much is the trip and how long is the trip?
So it starts on Thursday night and with dinner, and it ends on Sunday in the middle of the afternoon with a wonderful dinner at none other than Tavern on the Green in the
Oh,
middle of Central Park. Okay, like you just can't. It's all iconic. I mean, everything we're doing is just top of the line. And It's $998 and includes everything.
oh my goodness.
So
I don't know how anybody could pass that up. I
well,
mean,
I mean, I know a lot of people want to go to New York, and a lot of people are sort of scared of New York. And a lot of people, even who are New Yorkers or around New York, they don't know this side of New York. They don't, people go to New York, they go to they go to Times Square. Oh, and Times Square is like, I don't know, we'll probably walk through Times Square at one point or another, but it's
Yeah.
certainly not like, to me, the most interesting or beautiful or fascinating thing about, New York. I spent, you know, up until I was 47 years old there. So,
Yeah,
um,
there's so much history, and frankly, it's very Catholic. You know, I used to do business there and have to fly in every year to New York, and the churches there, it's
yeah,
steeped in traditional Catholicism.
it's
So,
just,
okay.
so great fun on one end to the other. So, yeah.
Well, tell me about what happens on those trips because I'll be flashing some pictures here on the screen, and you tell me when I can start flashing some of these
You start
pictures.
flashing all you want. Go ahead.
Oh, because I just have to share with you these pictures, folks, and you just start walking us through you know, some of the experiences and some of the trips that you've done and what happens on these trips and what happens after these.
Well, I'll tell you, the thing that I learned after like two or three of these trips is that most of these young people get sent on these trips by their mother, a parish priest, somebody who says to them, "You got to do this." And of course, they all have this look on their face when they first get there, which I have to laugh every single time because they walk into wherever we meet them. Sometimes it's at the airport overseas, and sometimes it's in a dining room or something like that. And they all have this look on their face like, "Oh no, I'm going to be stuck with these religious nuts for the next, like however long." And and honestly, by the time they leave, they're having a roaring good time. They want to stay up until 4 o'clock in the morning and party. I just like want to go home. Like, like I let them, do what they're going to do. But they really do have a great time. There's a lot of camaraderie that builds. And actually, during COVID, we had people arranging mini trips on their own. So they were getting together. I think they got together in San Antonio once, and there was a St. Louis trip. Of just because they turned into such great friends.
Yeah,
And then
this is
and then of
amazing.
course the romances started. These trips, this pictures you're seeing here is actually on the bottom left. There is one of our guys proposing to one of the girls he met on a trip to Ireland. That is him actually down on his knees proposing.
I am so glad that you're mentioning this because you can see the intimacy that's happening on these trips, and not just that, the camaraderie that's taking place. I don't know how the trips start, but you can see that as they get into these trips, these young people have this connectedness with them. I mean, look at
They have a whale of a good time. And here's the other thing is we're just starting them back up again. But when we were doing them, like twice a year, and I was hoping to get to three times a year, but then COVID intervened. Um, they basically like they're just, when you're talking about camaraderie, they want to come back. So we were having like 50% of our people who went on one trip came back for another trip.
that's
Um,
amazing.
we also had 15%, 1 5, um, of the young people marry each other.
Okay, because that's what I'm so fascinated by these pictures right here,
Yeah.
because
And
these
romances
people
were
met on the trip and then they got married afterward.
right. Some of these people were the trips were like, so in one case right here we have the girl was in Texas and the guy was in Singapore.
Oh,
And and then the girl was in Texas and the guy was in California. And
that
then
is
that right up
amazing.
there she was in Canada.
And look at
And
this. This is
right,
amazing.
and in another one, a shot there, the guy was in California and the girl was in Oregon. So
Oh,
it's really, and it's interesting because they I always think this is true. People say there's no such thing as romance anymore. Because I'm Italian, I believe in romance, so like it's
Mhm.
like a thing. But
Mhm.
I mean, you put young people in beautiful historic environments, and their
Mhm.
reaction is like they just
Mhm.
kind of open up. They start having fun with each other. And
Right.
of
Right.
course, romance is going to come out of that.
Right.
Um,
Exactly.
and I've got there's a whole bunch of babies been born since, um, and and I'm in touch with a lot of these people. One couple is in Austria because the husband's gone back to school in Vienna. Another couple is in Singapore. They're just,
Yeah.
it's just a whole lot of fun. They have a really, a really wonderful time. And I've been, people have been prodding me for the last couple of years, and for various reasons I couldn't do it, but now I
Mhm.
can,
Mhm.
to start them up again. So I thought, all right, if we're going to start it up again, I'm going to start it in New York because I know New York like the back of my hand, and a lot of people want to experience New York, and this is kind of like a fun way to do it. And I'll tell you something, as a mother of grown adult children, all right, I know a lot of us are concerned about our kids. I mean, we're concerned not that they're going to jail anytime soon, but that
Right.
are they going to find somebody that they can love for the rest of their lives?
Exactly.
And we know there's a horrendous culture out there. We know that there's a, you know, there's that the odds seem stacked against them.
Well, it's a culture of isolationism, and I think technology, unfortunately, has done that. But this is a beautiful way to connect young people in not just in a spiritual way, to bring them together in their Catholic faith, but also to connect them in their in such a historical way, fun way, uh, that there's a richness to it.
Well,
It's
you know what they say,
multi-dimensional.
what they say, which is interesting, is they say when we ask them for feedback on these trips, the word we got most often back was authentic. That
Yeah. Hmm.
people felt like they weren't seeing the glitzy tourist places. Although I mean we saw those things too, but they saw like a real sense of things. I mean, sometimes like if I'm looking at these pictures, so the top left picture is all of us going into this Scottish pub in Edinburgh, and they're all like they've just gotten off the plane, they're all hungry, they're all thirsty, and they're headed for the Spanish pub, Scottish pub, and
Oh,
it was like it was we all walked in there, and there were like there was a bunch of us, and there was me and the priest, and we were like the old folks, but we were hidden behind the this group of young people going tramping upstairs, and they heard the American accents, and this was like just the regulars in this club, and they turn around and they're like right, like what's that, and I thought, oh, this is going to be interesting. I mean, it just it's and the picture on that black and white shot there, that's in Sicily. That's in the absolute back like quarter of Sicily and Agrigento in June. So it was quite hot. So they're all going around with their
mm,
desert outfits on and that kind of stuff,
yeah.
because we were walking around the Valle di Templi in Sicily, which is the best Greek ruins in the world. Afterwards, that's outside of a restaurant right there where we just had this unbelievable Sicilian meal. So yeah,
Yeah. Well,
they have a
and
lot of authentic experiences.
well, they're forging friends for life, and you've helped them to do that, and they wouldn't have done it on their own. And what
No,
I picked up on you saying is their parents are helping them to do that.
yeah.
So, folks, I mean, what Beverly said is this Regina tour, this trip, the Cabrini tour in New York. When is the trip, Beverly?
March 29th. So it
Okay.
starts, that's the Thursday, and it's Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night.
Okay.
And then
Hmm.
the trip breaks up it goes on Sunday. Um, it's a great way to just do it for a long weekend and not have to make this grand commitment of a whole week. But we will be doing the trips to Europe, the week-long trips to Europe.
Yeah.
Um, you know,
So,
starting
so
this.
I'd say, and you've discounted it 25% off.
Yeah.
It's remarkable. And and that includes meals, right? That includes
Yeah. Oh
all their
yeah. Everything.
meals.
All the
All
meals.
all they have to do is pay for their airfare
Right.
to get there.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's dirt cheap. That is
It
that's
is.
just
And
unbelievable.
we're doing it, we're doing it below cost just to get Regina trips off the ground again.
Sure.
And
Okay.
also because it's the kind of thing where, we want people to be able to do this and not have to worry about like, oh, this is going to cost a fortune and all of that kind of stuff. So
Understood.
sometimes people have parents who are able to help them with trips, and sometimes people don't.
Well,
So
that's right.
we want to make it affordable for everybody.
Well, that's so kind that you're willing to do that for them. I would ask, and I will put this, flashing across the screen for everyone, so that they can register for the trips, register for the trip. But let me just flash it here so that you can see what this looks like, folks. And this is how you register for the event. It's called Regina Trips announces the Cabrini tour, and it's going to be Thursday through Sunday in the Big Apple. Uh, for anybody that has ever scoped out New York, you would know that normally hotel rooms are
Yeah,
350 to 600 a night. The
yeah,
fact that you were doing this for under $1,000 is amazing. And you have the most amazing priest accompanying you on this trip. You just don't get this kind of a trip. It's such high caliber. I guess final words for the parents and the young people, the young adults. What final words would you have?
I would say that um, your point about an isolated world now is very well taken. I think that people don't realize that. My husband and I walked on the campus of, a major university in Texas about a year ago, and we realized that we're a couple of old folks. We're the only ones holding hands. When we were at university, when we were kids, I was telling my son, everybody was holding hands. Everybody was, like you could tell that there was all kinds of romance around, but that's not happening anymore. And I think adults, those in our generation, we don't realize what's happened,
Yeah.
and our kids don't have anything to compare it to, so it's not like they can tell us.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is that my trips are fun, they're authentic, they're um, they're a little bit offbeat. There's just not going to be like, oh, we have to get on the bus and hurry up and run to the next thing. It's a lot more um, it's a lot more sort of real than that. And so that's, I think, why they have such a good time. And
Well,
I'm really looking forward to doing it again. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
well, it is. And they're building lasting friendships, which I think is amazing,
Yep.
So, well, great work as usual, Bev.
Thanks.
Everything that you're doing through Regina is incredible, and the best of luck to you. And it's going to fill up fast, folks. 17 people. You
That's
need,
it. And we've been selling it for a little while now, a couple of weeks. So if you want to do this, you should do it.
okay, register quickly, folks. All
All
right.
righty.
God bless. Thank you.
Thanks,
Ciao.
Vicki. Ciao.